Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? Day one. Wow, we're here. You're here. Okay, so, everyone on this journey is going to have different experiences, and, some people will feel great from day one to day seven. Some people will feel great day one and then feel shitty day two. And so I can't really determine where you're at, but what I will share with you in today's video and the videos moving forward are whatever pitfalls or challenges that you may be facing, and just some insight and sharing about my experience and what worked for me. Okay. And so my goal here is just for you to feel prepared for what's to come and to empower you to handle every and any obstacle that you're going to face in this journey. Okay. So, in my experience, especially early on in my journey, is that the first couple days, but specifically that first day, can kind of make or break the whole thing. Okay, so as it's day one, um, consider that you just need to get through the next 24 hours. And what will happen is you'll gain momentum, right? Because finally you'll be able to say, like, oh, I went a full day, right? So you have that momentum of like success and confidence. That way you know that you can go through day two. Because basically all this is you repeating the process of getting through day one 7 times, okay? And so that's the first thing. And the next thing I'll say is the more you can accept that you're just going to be weed free for 7 days, and you can just accept that your life is going to look and feel different because of that for the next 7 days, and you can be open and even excited for what's to come in the next 7 days, that'll serve you well, right? Because I know from experience what makes being weed free challenging and horrible, especially in the beginning, is you kind of have this, like, you kind of have a gap in your structure of life, right? Because I'm sure that in many ways weed supported you in certain areas. And so, for example, if you use marijuana to like relax, and that's your primary way of relaxing, and you don't have any other ways to relax, you're gonna feel that in the next 7 days. Okay. And so if we're talking about preparedness here, so by far, I would say the most important thing you can do today is just accept that you're not going to, like, using marijuana is just not an option. It's just not an option. And so instead of like complaining and whining and engaging in some kind of mental talk about how, oh, I want to do it, but I shouldn't. Oh, I want to do it, but I can't, or whatever. Like, it's not even an option. Okay. And the powerful thing that is going to happen is that as you remove it as an option, you will be forced to find other ways to deal with it. And trust me, you will find other ways to deal with it. Whatever it is you're looking for, whether it's to relieve stress, whether it's to have fun, be entertained, you're going to find other ways to deal with that stuff. Because I know for a fact, if you were fucking dumped on an island that had no marijuana, you would figure out how to deal with yourself, all right? And so then that's interesting, right? Because clearly you're not going to die, and clearly you can make it 7 days if you were forced to, okay? Now, obviously, you will have access to marijuana, right? So technically speaking, you do have that option. But it's my advice that you do whatever you have to do for yourself to make it clear that it's not an option. Um, and see if you can come from the place of like, oh, it's not an option, to it's not an option. Not an option. Find some other way to deal with it. Okay. And that's going to be one of the key things as well. See if you can notice when you're engaging in some kind of like, oh, God, right? Because that's going to make things worse, not better. And again, Okay, some of you might hate this journey because you're going to be forced to develop yourself. You're going to be forced to deal with stress in other ways. You're going to be forced to not have marijuana as your way to deal. And that might come with some tantrums, like emotional ups and downs, and that's part of it. No, that's all part of the process. If you become irritable, that's part of it. If you don't get good sleep, that's part of it. And so, yeah, what are some of the other challenges you might be facing? Okay, so now that marijuana is not in the picture, let's talk about the emotions that you might be confronting. Okay, so you might come across depression, you might come across anxiety, you might come across boredom. And again, okay, I'm just going to be very frank with you. This is part of the process. The only way you're going to become someone who can function great without marijuana is if you develop it, right? And so guess what? This is an opportunity for you to finally deal with certain things that you've been avoiding. Like, oh, I'm depressed. Oh, it's because my job is not for me. Looks like I might have to make a change in my life. Right? Or, ooh, I'm way out of shape. And I can't smoke pot just to make me feel better in this moment about it. Oh, wow, I had no idea. I forgot how much of my self-esteem is messed up because of my lack of health. Ooh, okay. So on the one hand, it's like, ooh, you have to face things that maybe you've been avoiding. And on the other hand, you finally have the opportunity to rectify all those things and finally have true solution and true peace around an area of life that was stressing you out. Because what happens is, let's say you're out of shape and that fucks with you, right? And then you smoke the weed and you're no longer like being messed up by that voice. And so you're fine in the moment. But once you're not stoned, you feel that baggage. And the irony is that the true way to get rid of a baggage around your health is to deal with your health. That's the way to get the baggage off, is to deal with the health, not to numb yourself out. And so don't get me wrong, it's very possible that you're going to go through these next 7 days and none of this is going to come up and it's going to be a breeze, and that's great. Share your insights with everyone else in the comments. But if you're someone who, for example, has like been smoking for years and years, and you know that you probably should cut it down big time, but it's just hard. And consider that deep down that like this is the right move, but you also know deep down that like shit, like I really have to face it. Like, oh shit, like I really do have to be willing to face what comes up. And on the positive side, some of the things you can expect are like to feel light. Like you're letting go of like a burden, the burden of keeping up an addiction, the burden of having to like abusively overload your system, right, with THC. And so some of the other things you can expect too, possibly, is like moments of feeling really, really, really fucking good and just like relieved of the energy that surrounds you with an addiction and dependence and like self-harm, right? And so what I do sincerely hope for all of you is that at some point in the next 7 days you have like an emotional giggle fit, like you just find yourself laughing for no reason. This has happened to me a number of times, whether, when I would either stop smoking pot or I would stop like watching porn and stuff. Like I would just yes, I would face some of the more difficult emotions, but I would also experience some of the happiest of emotions. And so, welcome to the full range of emotions. And so, I would say to cap this off, today is all about gaining momentum and confidence in your ability to go a day without weed. The next 7 days is just you replicating that process 7 times. Be willing to accept that marijuana is not an option for the next 7 days. And prepare to develop the skills required to handle your life without marijuana. Whether it's finding other ways to relieve stress, other ways to entertain yourself, or just other outlets for whatever needs you have. And then along the way, as you experience withdrawal symptoms like headaches or insomnia or dry mouth or, emotional highs and lows, do your best to reduce your bitching and complaining about it, and just know that it's part of it. Like if the bitching and complaining serves you good, do it. It's okay to bitch and complain and whine if it helps you. But if it gets to a point where like you're just victimizing, like guys, it's part of the fucking deal, guys. Like it's part of the deal. And so if you don't want to face withdrawal symptoms, then don't smoke pot like this anymore, right? But because you have, then you deserve the consequences of those actions. You get me? Just like at the end of the 7-day journey, when you complete it fully, finally, you're going to deserve all of the emotions and reward that come with that achievement. Okay? So you get what you put in. Okay? So if you smoke a lot of weed and you stop smoking, you're going to get withdrawal effects. If you take 7 days off and you apply yourself and you face yourself and you do what's necessary to stay weed free for 7 days, you deserve all of the positivity that comes from that. Okay, so it's on you. And yeah, it's just 7 days, y'all. You're gonna be fine. Okay, any suffering you experience is part of it. Be responsible for shifting it. And if you find yourself down during the next 7 days, that's part of it. And you'll be fine. Okay. So that's it for day 1. Hopefully this was supportive. Leave comments down below, questions. If you need any clarification around anything I said, please ask. And yeah, day 1, well done. And I'll see you all on day 2 tomorrow. Peace.